That's it's pretty bad. So, if you've seen the title, you already know what's going on. Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the most highly anticipated games of this generation of consoles, really. Since it was announced, there was a lot of buzz around it. And unfortunately, there are a lot of issues with the game. And it's not just what you're hearing out there is for the PS4, the Xbox One base consoles, but really it's really for all console versions. It's not just the base consoles. Like I'm having issues on the Series X, and I'm going to talk about that in a video after this. Sony did something that is almost unprecedented. It's honestly a shocker. They pulled Cyberpunk 2077 off of the Sony platform, off of their website at least, off of the digital shop, the PlayStation Store. So that's huge. First of all, that validates the fact that there are so many issues with the game. There are a lot of positives to that. And at the same time, Sony is not really like the savior here. So let's really get that straight. This is definitely a PR necessity for them. Cyberpunk not doing well and prompting people to ask for refunds created a large traffic of people requesting refunds because of how bad the game was. Sony's policy is not to give refunds for anything digital once you've already installed it on the game. And actually, I think it even goes beyond that. It's also like, I remember my son pre-ordered The Last of Us Part 2 by accident. I put a code on it after the fact. But I was trying to cancel that, and they were giving me a bit of a hard time to actually cancel that pre-order when I made the phone call to them. And I was a little bit confused. I'm like, it's not downloaded on my system. I don't understand what the issue is. And eventually they took it off, but they said it as if it was like they're doing me a favor. It was an order for that and there were some other items that were not installed on, the system. And they were giving issues. They were making it as if they were making an exception for them to return a product that was never used. So they're notorious for having some surprisingly and ironically some anti-consumer policies, and that's coming to light a lot more. And there's actually some things that I want to discuss with the PlayStation 5 that I have concerns with, and those concerns really stemmed from the announcements back in the day when Xbox One was first being announced for DRM and the PS4, and it was like a huge debacle. And then, Sony came out with the whole used game issue. But anyways, that's another topic. But I do want to discuss that. There's like a slew of negative topics that I don't want to make the channel very negative, but there really is a lot of issues that need to be discussed regarding Microsoft and regarding Sony. Anyways, back to this. Sony's really saving their own behinds here because it's not really a consumer situation where they're trying to look out for you. It's a matter of now their name is being tarnished because of their bad return policies, especially on the PlayStation Store. And so now they have to rectify that situation. And to rectify that, they're jumping ship and jumping on the bandwagon of bashing Cyberpunk 2077 and their developers. And because they know most people are just going to kind of, everybody's kicking a person when they're down. If you just jump along, it's not, you're just going to be part of the crew. You're not, you're not looked at in a different way. So that's what's happening here with Sony. It's a good thing, though. Obviously, it's a good thing for, consumers like us, gamers, etc. Because a precedent needs to be set. Like, you need to release a game, one, when it's finished. That's whether it's for the developers or the publishers or whoever, whoever's responsible for that. They need to release games that are actually finished and are in their final state. I mean, you look back in the day when we had, N64 games, and there was no such thing as, patches or uploading. Yeah, it became more of an issue when you had bugs, because you're kind of stuck with those bugs. But at the same time, And yes, I understand the data required to make those games and the codes are a lot more complex now. But the point of the matter is the product that you provided had to be the final product. It could not be something like you give some. I mean, how many games did we get? Was it? I think it was during this year. Was Marvel during this year? Marvel Avengers? I think it was. Avengers. Anthem. I was never a fan of Fallout, but Fallout 77. You just can't get it right, man. You just can't get it right. Anyway, Fallout 77, similar state. No Man's Sky, similar state. When they put out, Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is an amazing game. But when they first put it out, sure, it was finished, but they had a lot of anti-consumer issues in there in terms of the in-game transactions and microtransactions, etc. for a game you already paid for. I don't understand where we're going here with this industry. Or I'm buying something and that thing is incomplete or is almost unplayable. That's unacceptable. So honestly, that's what they get. At the same time, you got to call it for what it is. Sony also needed to do this because how is their quality control department going to look? Yes, Cyberpunk automatically, their quality control just looks horrible right now. CD Projekt Red right now, it looks bad. Obviously there was some sort of situation going on there where they released it way too early, clearly knowingly that it was not ready. But they released it anyways, and they did not catch all of these issues or address all of these issues. So, but Sony, how did you put it on your store? How did you let it pass for you to put it on your store? Clearly, what the consumers are going to think is, well, your quality control is not good either. So, yeah, this is definitely a PR thing with Sony. They have to do this. But it brings questions to the forefront here. A couple of things. What happens to people that have hard copies of the game? Technically speaking, I don't know if there are any plans that Cyberpunk will be returning to the PlayStation Store at any point in time. I would say more than likely it would, but I wouldn't be surprised if it would never return to the PlayStation Store, just because I don't know how much of a risk Sony would want to take. That's a lot of money that they're returning. That's a lot of money they're not getting back. And I don't know. I don't know if they're going to want to go through something similar to that in the future with Cyberpunk. So that's a question. But the hard copies, what's happening with that? GameStop, pretty much put it out there. They're not taking any returns. If you opened your game pretty much from any place, you're not going to be able to return it. I think unless you bought it from like Target or places like that, like for Black Friday, you might be able to. But I don't know. In any case, that's one. Two, what about the updates? Right? If you have a hard copy of the game and it's no longer on the PlayStation Store, when they do patch it, are they able to release those patches if it's still not on the store? Or will Sony put it back on the store? I don't know. But those are definitely things to consider. And then Microsoft, what will they do? Because the issues are not just on PlayStation 4. They're definitely on Microsoft's end as well, or rather on Xbox One as well. Actually, they're on all the systems, like straight up the Series X, PlayStation 5. But I can tell you from personal experience, the Series X definitely has issues. Like it's not, and it's enough issues that really frustrate me. It's not unplayable by the standards of many people. From my perspective, though, if I'm playing it, I'm forcing myself to continue playing it. I'm forcing myself to ignore a lot of issues that I don't feel I should be ignoring. But we'll talk about that. In any case, yeah, that's huge. That's huge news. What do you guys think about that? Did you buy Cyberpunk? Are you getting a refund for that? definitely should get a refund for that if you did buy it on the base consoles. Or are you willing to wait it out, or are you actually willing to give this game a chance in the future if they're able to fix it and release it? Let me know. Anyways, it's been the Vigilante Effect. Peace.